Hello, everyone. We have very special interview with a very special guy that I wanted to interview a long time ago, but I come to interview another guy in the end, and now I have it finally here, and I'm glad that I found him in Hive, in one of the most active blockchains where I am active. So, hello, Cahlen.
Hello, thanks for having me on. I'm glad that you eventually found me.
Yeah, finally. So maybe it's destiny, like something like I had to do before, but I have to do it right now, not exactly right now, not before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell us, please, about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Cahlen. I call myself a wizard, which is, to me, a definition of a wizard is someone who seeks the truth and uses it for their own benefit, but also the benefit of others, as opposed to a sorcerer who seeks the truth and hides it from people for their own benefit, right? To get a power differential. So that's what I mean when I call myself a wizard. Basically, I used to be a game producer, so I worked on many games, but the last few were kind of the last big Lord of the Rings games. So yeah, that was a big part of my life for a long time. And then I kind of, I felt like the life I was living was not working for me. And I moved onto a permaculture farm, living in a yurt, basically. And then, yeah, I just kind of slowly started progressing towards where I am now. When I went from that to I went to living in my truck in the middle of the desert and roaming around as kind of a nomad to, and now where I am is I'm living on a permaculture farm. But I don't have a home anymore. Like I used to have a yurt when up in Washington, I had a yurt on a permaculture farm. Now I'm down in New Mexico and I'm living underneath you can see this is my raincoat. This is a poncho. This is my house basically, but I also can wear it as a raincoat or use it as a bivy sack if you're familiar with those are. So basically that's me. And I make videos. That's basically what I do for a living. I don't have many expenses, so I can basically survive off of what I make from my videos, from donations, and also from crypto. You make a little bit on Odyssey, not much these days, but I make a good amount on Hive, right? So that's basically where I'm at right now and how I make a living.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you want to tell about yourself? Anything else, I mean?
Well, I think that pretty much gives a general summary of what I'm all about. And I guess if you have specifics that you'd like to know about, feel free to ask.
Yeah, how it feels like living in the in the nowhere, you can say.
In the what?
I mean in the nowhere, like
oh, in the nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first started many years ago, when I was living in my truck and I would go out onto public land where no one is, right? And it was a little bit freaky, but also it was a little bit like, oh my gosh, I'm free. It was kind of amazing. And by now, it's several years later. I guess I'm pretty used to it. And it just feels like normal. But I'm almost at a year anniversary of living outside, right? So this last June, I moved onto this farm and have been living outside the entire time, even the whole winter. And so we're almost at the year anniversary of that. And there actually is a structure, like a mud house that they made, which I could go and live in because no one's currently using it. But I don't even like being inside anymore. There's something about the air being totally still, which is uncomfortable. So yeah, it's really nice. Like I said, I'm used to it by now, so it just seems normal. But I would say, yeah, I wouldn't want to go back to living in a house or something.
Yeah, that's really great. And I just now I realized that we use the wrong word when we say like homeless. So it's we shouldn't say that because if your home is the nature, so we are not homeless. You have a home, and you can say that you have more homes that we are having.
Yeah, basically I live wherever I am. It's like if anyone asks, so where do you live? I'm like, well, about right here, pretty much. But yeah, I actually make the joke that I am homeless. I live out of a backpack and stuff like that, but it's definitely different than what we mean by homeless normally, because what we mean that is someone who doesn't want to be there. right?
Yeah.
They'd rather be in a house or an apartment or something, but I'd rather be here. This is where I like.
And how about the winter, for example, if it's cold?
Yeah, the winter wasn't actually nearly as hard as I thought it would get. So you work in Celsius, I imagine. I'm not quite sure how cold. So, our freezing is 32 and yours is 0.
Hmm.
So we go down from our freezing at 32 we got down to about 0 Fahrenheit, which is quite a bit below freezing. It's pretty cold. And I had a hot tent and I had a little titanium wood stove that folds and they could put it in my backpack. And I was using it for a while, but I just found out it wasn't really necessary. So as long as you have the right clothes, the right layers of different clothes, you basically can be hanging out in super cold weather, 100, all day, 24/7, and it's not. You don't need a fireplace or anything like that. You just need to be wearing enough.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing, like very special. I don't hear from people usually such things. So the next question is how you start to create content. How you come to this idea and why you decided to do that?
So back when I was kind of starting to transition from the normal life, what most people call a normal life, as a producer, I had a nice apartment and I had a nice car and a nice girlfriend and all this type of stuff. And basically we moved onto the permaculture farm, and immediately that day I started making videos, and just kind of videos about how to live differently, a simpler life. And that was just kind of, I think I felt called to do that before, but then being in a cool place like that gave me the inspiration to actually start making videos. And then also, I don't know if you know who Mark Passio is, but he basically had a podcast that I listened to. And basically what I took away from that was that it was really important that I be learning what's going on in the world and doing my best to make content which is helping people to learn about these things and also to prepare themselves for these things. And so over time, I started making, I'd be like one video every couple of months, and then it was like one video every week, and now it's like, 1 or 2 videos a day at this point.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think if you will continue that, you will be very, very successful in this.
Yeah, I'm starting to think, I probably could do like 3 videos a day, but I'm just like, I don't know. What do you think? Like, sometimes I get annoyed when someone that I subscribe to puts out like too much stuff. It's because I want to watch it, but I don't have the time to watch it all. What do you think?
In my opinion, if the content creator have such, I don't know, inspiration, just power, just ideas, and he or she wants to create the content, he should do it even 10 times a day. So if his subscribers are not okay with that, so it's, they can unsubscribe or something. But people who like the content, they will always stay. I don't know. It's my opinion. I think to limit ourselves just because we are afraid to be like annoying or something, I don't think it's the case. It's good just to create whatever you want. So, but because sometimes you can't create like 5 videos a day, for example. You can't do it. You can do it once. Well, sometimes you can do 3. It depends on you. I think the content creators, especially we are like independent people, so we can do it the way that we think it's right, and it's up to you.
Awesome.
I think. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. It's kind of what I lean to as well, but also, it's good to hear it from someone else. So thank you for affirming that.
Yeah. That's based on my experience, so I say it. So after creating the content and start to create content and building the audience, etc. I don't think that you were in crypto directly. When you joined crypto world, how you decided to join the crypto world?
So I've been in it a pretty long time. I don't remember even exactly when. I know at some point I had a bunch of Bitcoin, not a bunch, but several $1,000s worth, and it was probably like 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. And I bought a bunch of gold and silver with it. And then there's kind of like, I think I was sort of paying attention, and then Steam, I think, came around, and Steam was kind of the thing that was like, okay, this is this is more like it, you know? It's like, this is what cryptocurrency should be, you know? It's just like, it's not just some numbers, right? It's an entire system which basically allows humans to use it in a way which they're already used to, and which can reward them without even anyone needing to pay anything. You know, it's like, because Steam is now Hive, and so, you know, you kind of mean the same thing when you say, well, I guess I'll say Hive. But so on Hive, you know, if you're a content creator, you can post a video there and someone can like your post, and you're going to earn Hive cryptocurrency, but they didn't have to pay you. Right. And it's a little bit complicated about how that all works. And it has scary words like inflation and stuff like that, but it works, and it's been around for years. Anyway, so early on, I think that's when I started. I've always been a kind of aware of crypto, but it was really Steam, which then became Hive, which got me really interested in it.
Yeah, that's great. So I always compare that, or to link that to the concept of proof of brain, because we had before like the proof of work. If you if you are a miner or something like that, you can earn that cryptocurrency. But here, like a proof of brain, like ideas you have, like the comments you create, the posts you create, it's really an awesome thing.
And humans are deciding, you know, what. I mean, it has a framework of deterministic, you know, technology, but it's really the humans which are deciding, you know, and without the human element, it wouldn't work, right? So it's like, I don't know, it's almost a symbiosis, you know, and I personally kind of like the idea of technological symbiosis, as long as the people who are offering to us are not bad people. And, you know, with Hive, the nice thing is you can vote for, you know, who those people are. You know, you can know who they are, you can see what they do, and they're not just some mysterious shadowy figures, you know, that we don't know what they want, or anyways.
Everything is transparent and it's open source, and that's great. Yeah, okay. Totally. The next question as well about you. So what are your interests, the things that you like to do?
Man, so I used to have lots of, like, I used to be into sports. I played a lot of tennis. I used to play a lot of video games. I guess I was really into MMOs, you know, like Warcraft and Final Fantasy 11, all these types of things. My whole 20s was basically up in that type of stuff. And then, I don't know, at this point in my life, my hobby is making videos. My hobby is, you know, hanging out outside in the sun and making videos. And then the farm I live on, these people, they teach permaculture and they teach foraging. So, you know, I go along with them on their classes and stuff like that. So, you know, basically it's just simple. I guess I do spend a lot of time listening to stuff. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I would say that's probably what I spend most of my time doing. So that's probably my primary hobby, is just listening to things.
Yeah, to improve and to find more good information about the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So maybe I will ask like the last question about you, and then we move to the last question. So the last question about you, I have, like, I just now it come in my mind. So what is like the goal, or the, I don't know, the purpose of your content? You are like creating it every day, but I know that there are a lot of things like your inspiration and etc., and a lot of things, earning maybe crypto, I don't know, but still maybe you have like a noble goal from all your content that you are creating, because I am following your content a long time, and I see it like having a lot of benefit and bringing good, I don't know, good mentality, you can say, to people. So what is like the goal of your content?
Yeah, so I guess I came to a few years ago an awakening to the situation in the world, and it's not necessarily a good situation. And I felt sort of powerless about it. You know, it's like, well, what can I do about it? And it's like, well, I could certainly do more than I'm doing now, right? And maybe it won't even matter. Maybe it won't even matter, but it's better to make an effort. Because it's like, if you don't try, then you're not going to make it, right? You can try and you might fail, but but at least you have a chance. But if you don't even try, then you don't have a chance. And so basically I felt like if I wasn't going to try and help us get through this situation and come into a better place, if I wasn't going to try, then I was basically giving permission for the world to be the way that it was. And so that's not acceptable to me. Basically, I see it as I have a commitment to the truth. And it's not that I'm trying to save humanity or anything like that. It's more that my commitment, my deep commitment, is to the truth and to speak the truth to people. And then, you know, so that ultimately, even if we lose, right, if humanity loses this fight, ultimately for me, what mattered was I was on the side of truth, right? So, but then, you know, I do think we have a chance to succeed. And so I feel like my videos are largely about educating people about what's going on, because you can't make the right decision if you don't know the truth about reality. And also, I feel like I kind of focus on trying to get people, I think there's multiple ways to survive a world in a bit of chaos. And some of those can be like having a house out in the middle of nowhere where you have solar panels and stored up food. And that's one strategy. But my strategy is to be nomadic and to be able to move from place to place and to be what I basically call and this used to be a thing back in the 18th century, a professional garden hermit. So just someone who comes and lives on a garden and helps tend the garden and basically gets to live there just because of how they are so helpful there. And, you know, so basically I see that as basically being able to live out of a backpack. I also have a solar electric bike, which can go about 50 miles on a charge before I need to leave it out in the sun for a couple of days. But basically my strategy is to be nomadic, minimalistic, not need very much, and make use of what I have. For example, this shirt right here, this is the basic, well, I have layers of shirt, but this is the only layer at this thing, and this is my outer shirt, and I wear it every day, and I washed it for the first time yesterday or 2 days ago in a year. And you wouldn't have even known that I hadn't washed that shirt in a year. Like, I've mastered the clothing. So I only have one of everything, and that's all I need for all seasons. And I just, you know, so basically that's something that took a lot of experimentation to learn how to do. And to me, it seems normal again, but I can help people. Like, if someone wants to take the strategy of being a minimalistic nomad to try and survive the new world that we're going into, then you know, that's like kind of my niche there, is trying to help people learn how to do that. So by basically just showing them what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, the first time I heard about minimalism from Nathan Mars, if you know him.
Nathan Mars.
Nathan Mars,
think I've
yes.
The name. I think I've heard the name.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've watched any of his videos.
Yeah, he does create a lot of videos. He's mostly active in Twitter, promoting Hive, promoting crypto. And I liked that when he explained what's minimalism. So it was a few years ago, and I like it because I feel that I am also kind of minimalist, because I try to spend only on the things that are really important, and I don't spend money for things that are really not bringing value to me or to people. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm glad that you are you have such a noble goal to tell the truth to people, to make them think, etc. And the last question I would like to ask is, what are the tips you can give to people, maybe those people who want to start creating content, or those people who want to start learning about all this? Because even me, I went like 2 years or 3 years ago when something like special things started in all the world, the same thing. I learned about it, and I didn't know a lot of things. I was like surprised every day, like learning about something new, and I like turned it from someone to someone else, and I like it, and I am still learning. And I know that there are maybe people still don't know about a lot of things that happening in the world. So what are the tips for them to start this I don't know, this awakening, we can say? And the second tip, if someone of them want to start to create content, so what are the tips that you can give them?
Okay, so I would say that the most important thing before you even dive into really understanding what's going on in the world is to focus on health, to focus on your own personal health. Because It is not pretty what you're going to learn about the universe, or at least about humanity's situation on this planet, and it can be kind of traumatic. And especially if you already have a fairly busy, chaotic life, you know, it's not gonna make your life easier to know about these things. And being in a place where you're really healthy and you have energy and you just feel good to exist, it's gonna make it easier for you to face these things, which are a little more uncomfortable. And also, when you learn about health, and I don't recommend listening to many doctors or anything like that. Generally, learning about health means learning about your health, because that's specific to you. And a lot of the stuff that doctors are going to tell you are just wrong pretty much for everyone. So as you get into the health and you really dive in there, you're going to start seeing things like, oh my gosh, we know how to cure cancer. Oh my gosh, chemotherapy only works for like 3 different types of cancer, yet we use it for all types of cancer, and doctors are allowed to make money off of the sale of the chemotherapy drugs, which should be illegal, which is illegal for all other drugs. But anyways, you learn all these things just by getting to the health. And so you will start opening your mind to the possibility that there's some nefarious stuff going on in this world. And as you get healthier, you'll be able to face it more, and you'll dive deeper. When you get into to the point where you're ready to actually start making content to educate people about this in whatever way that is for you, it could be a lot of different ways. You could be a comedian, you could be a musician, you could be a writer, you can make videos. You know, there's so many different ways that you can do it. And people can be a little bit afraid to jump into it, partly because they're worried about what people are going to think about them. And I would say ultimately that you're going to get over that pretty quickly. You know, you're going to get your feelings hurt maybe a few times with people leaving mean comments or something like that. But ultimately, it's not a big deal to speak the truth. And then there's the technological and the, like some people don't think they're very good. And, you know, when you start something, you're not going to be good, but you're not going to get better if you don't do it. And so I'd say, you know, if you're, for example, if you want to make videos and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to be bad, people are going to think my videos suck. It's just like, they probably are going to suck at the beginning. You know, my first videos are not as good, not even close in my opinion to my current videos, but you know, I had to just start. And that if you want to go, then I'd say you just got to start and accept that you're going to get better over time, but you're not going to get better if you're not doing it. So anyways.
Yeah, that's cool. And maybe the last thing also, what are the cryptocurrency that you can promote here, about where you are active now currently? So
yeah. So I think for me, the cryptocurrency which shows the most promise in terms of having proven itself, and that is most useful to me, and really it's amazing that people aren't using it. It's just exactly what people should be using right now, and that's Hive. I mean, I just think it's a really good system. The community is really good. You know, the community is still fairly small, which is the only downside, and I think that the community is not so good at onboarding new users. I think partly the problem is it seems a little bit confusing. You know, it is a little bit more complicated than something like Monero or something like that. You know, there's like 3 different private keys. You know, even that is confusing to people. It's like, oh, you have your posting key and your active key and your master key, and people's heads just explode, you know, just at that point. So that's one downside of Hive. But basically, I think Hive is a really cool crypto. I think if Odyssey or LBC, Library, if they win the court case against the SEC, then I think Library is going to do very, very well. You know, and currently Library is already actually extremely useful. LBC is extremely useful. I promote my videos and other people's videos using LBC, which I don't lose. I just stake it to their video, and it shows up in their feeds for everyone across the entire planet, right? If people knew that, there's millions of people on LBC, if people on Library, on Odyssey, if people knew that you could right now use LBC to get a video, you know, $30 worth of LBC could get a video on the front page of the odyssey.com, right? Yeah. When people wake up to that, and if the court case, you know, if they go through and they win that case, I think LBC's at, you know, 1.5 cents. It's going to be $1, you know, someday. So I'd say if you're looking for a thing where you can just invest a little bit now, I think in the future it could do very well. And then also I like Monero. I like Monero and I like Darrow. Do you know what Darrow is?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Okay, Darrow is basically like Ethereum except private. So I think ultimately, if they don't pull the plug on the electricity and screw cryptocurrencies over across the entire world, I think that ultimately Darrow will be probably one of the most used cryptos. You know, this is like 4 or 5 years in the future, though.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for your time, for your tips, for the interview. I really hope you reach your goals and achieve your dreams. And I wish we collaborate maybe other time in the future.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I have to check out more of your content, but perhaps I don't know if you'd be interested of coming on Modern Day Wizards. You know, I'm not quite familiar with what you tend to focus on in your content, but yeah, I think I'll check your stuff out and then we can hook up and have another conversation sometime.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for watching, and goodbye.